Hello and welcome to this new video. Today we're gonna build a quick application which is gonna search for country names using an autocomplete feature in Framework 7. We're also gonna use React as our front-end framework of choice, and we're also gonna build a quick service for our search functionality using Node.js. Alright, so you can already see what we're going to do here. Our front is gonna run on iPhone or whatever browser you want. The user is gonna enter search term into an input field. The front is gonna send this search term. It can just be a letter or just a part of a word, and it's gonna send it to our service. And the service is gonna check if it can find anything that matches this query and gonna return this as a result back to the front end, and then we're gonna display a list of those matching results. And to connect both with each other, we're gonna use a REST service in Node.js, and we're gonna build this with Express. So let's get started with this. We can close this stuff, and let me bring up some stuff here. So I'm going to upload all the code on my GitHub repository. So if you want to download it after our tutorial, just go to github.com/valnob, that's my repository, and go to repositories here, and it will be called Framework7 Node autocomplete search demo. Just click it, and then you can just clone or download the whole code and play around with it. All right. So let's get started. What you're gonna need is the official standard Framework7 template for React. You can get this at the official Framework7 repository, which is framework7.io/framework7 template React. And yeah, just clone it, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to copy this address and open my terminal. And I'm gonna, let me create a new folder for that. Okay, now I'm gonna git clone this template. All right, looks good. And then npm install everything. All right, so now that it's done, we're also going to need 2 additional packages for building our REST service. The first one is Express, and which we're going to save. And there is also NodeMon, which we're going to need to actually run the service. All right, so let's open our project. Now there's nothing too fancy here. It's just a standard Framework7 project with React. And we should see that here NodeMon and Express have been installed, which is good. What else? Actually, we can already start building stuff here. So the only thing we're going to add to the package JSON is a script to run our service. So we're going to call this service, and we're going to run this on port 3001 because the front is going to run on 3000 and we don't want it to conflict here. And we want NodeMon to run our service. Now we haven't created our service yet, but we're going to do that in a second. So let's do that. Let's create a new folder, call it service, and create a new file and call it service.js. We're going to need a few more files. One file which hosts a list of countries. Our search service is going to search for country names. So, for example, if you enter the name A into our search field, it's going to list all the countries which start with an A. And for this, I have a list which we can use. So I'm just going to paste it in here. See, these are all the names of the countries which exist in this world. So in order to start our service, we go to service.js, and I'm going to paste some code in here. Okay. Now this is a standard code I use for all my REST service projects. You can just go to my repository and copy and paste it. I'm not going to go through all these lines because they're not important. What's actually important is how we're gonna get all these calls from our front end. And for this, we need to add some routing logic. So how we do that is we're gonna define a new search controller, and we're gonna require it. Whoops. From a file which is called search controller, which we haven't created it, but we will do in a second. And we're going to define a new route, okay? We're going to call this search. So basically we're creating a new service which is called search. We want it to listen to GET requests, not POST requests, not PUT. We want GET. And then we simply use our search controller and map this call, okay? So let's create our controller file, search controller.js. Now this is going to be really simple. First of all, we have to import our list of countries. Then we export function from our module. We have request and result variables, which we're going to use in a second. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our request and look into this query. Now what this does is it will check our HTTP request and see if there are any variables in there. And we're going to save this to a variable which we call value. And we're going to check if this value actually exists. And what we now need to do is, so the value is actually the search string. Okay, so for example, if the user enters the word A or the letter A, the variable value will be A. So what we need to do is we have to search within the list of countries if there is any country which starts with an A. So let's do that. So we have to loop through it. And let's get one of the countries. And we want the name of that country. So let's check if this country name starts with our value. All right. And if we find the result, we have to save it somewhere. We're gonna define an array and push it in there. All right. And if we were done with this, we're gonna just return the results as a JSON file. Yeah, result array. All right, I think that's it. Now we can run our service. Now remember, in our package.js, we've created a script which is called service, and which should run our service, hopefully. So let's try this, npm run service. Oh, it crashed. cannot find module countries. Why can't you find the module countries? Countries. Oh yeah. So we need to get it from the same path. And now it's running, which looks good on port 3001. So let's open this, localhost 3001. And you can already see that I've been playing around with this. So we're gonna start searching with a country which started with an A, for example. So as you can see, we get no result. And the reason for this is it needs to be uppercase because all the countries start with an uppercase here. So we can easily work around this by adding here to lowercase and do the same thing with the values. So we're gonna compare the lowercase country with the lowercase of our value. So this still works, but if I use lowercase a now, it still will return me the same search result. Let's say I want to look for Germany, GER. So now it will come up with Germany. So that works. So that's basically it. The service is done. It took now, I don't know, a few minutes, but that's it already. So let's look into our front end. Now the front end, it already has. I'm going to show you how it looks like. It already has a lot of stuff in there because it's a template from Framework7. See, so there's a lot of stuff going on our left side here. So let's remove all this stuff because we're not going to need any of this. So the first thing we have to do is, as you can see, there are a lot of pages here. We're not going to need most of these. So I'm going to delete like all of them except for the home page and the not found page because we're going to need that. And in our routes.js, we have to also remove the pages, which we do not need. Yep, that's it. Save it. And let's go into our homepage, and we can see a lot of markup. And we're gonna remove, yeah, pretty much everything except for the blog and the blog title. All right, so remove this. And also remove the content of the blog and the blog title. So let's save this. All right, so that looks good. This is our blog. We're going to use the blog title to enter in the word search. And here we need an input. It's going to be a text input. It needs an ID. So we're going to call this search field. And I think we can add a placeholder. Type country name here. Let's see if that works. Yep, that works. Oh, it's kind of cut off. Don't know why this happens. Yeah, but we can type in something here, and that's pretty much it. So now we come this far here, and all we now need to do is add the autocomplete feature from Framework7. Now the sad part here is that Framework7 currently does not offer a React version of this autocomplete feature. But that's no problem because the core version is already integrated into the React version, and this one has the autocomplete feature. So what you want to do is you want to go to the Framework7 docs on framework7.io/docs/autocomplete.html, and here you have the full documentation on how to use this actually. Now this is going to be really simple. What we're going to do is we are going to copy this example code here because it's calling the create method, and that's actually all we need for the moment. And oh yeah, we can delete most of the shit here. We're saying so navbar. We don't need this. We don't need that. Actually, we can. It's just a few components, so we can add everything into one line. We're gonna use a class in this case instead of this error function as a React component. So it's gonna be class. How do you call this? Homepage. And it extends the standard React component. And each React component, of course, has a random method, and it returns our JSX code. All right. So now we just need one more method, which is component did mount, which is a standard lifecycle method in React. And now we're going to copy our code from our Framework7 doc example. So what this does is it will create an autocomplete on this element which has this ID. Now in our case, it's called search field. So I'm going to rename this. It's going to open in a dropdown, which is fine. And we're also going to need to implement this the source function here. Now what the source function does is every time the user types something into our search field, this method is called, and then we need to actually call our backend service. But let's save it and see what happens, because I think we're going to get an error here. Yes, we do. And the reason for that is this app thing here, the app variable, it doesn't exist. And the reason for this is, well, we haven't defined it, but app is actually just the normal, the standard instance of our Framework7 app. And we can easily get it through a hook. So app is just this dot $f7 ready. And we pass in a function, actually an error function. And this function will get actually our app. So this is bullshit here. Okay. And I'm gonna move all the stuff here into our error function. So now we're in the scope of the error function, and now we have the app available. So let's save this and see, no more errors. Everything is fine. Right, so let's look what we get when we type something. So I'm gonna console log the query here. So let's try this. Yeah, see, so while I type, it does indeed return what I'm typing in here. Now this really bothers me that it's cut off, so I'm just gonna type country name. Yeah, quick and easy fix. All right, so now all we have to do is call our service, right? So we already have the URL, and we have to call it. So we can use fetch to call it. The URL is this. And we're gonna use ES6 string padding here. We're gonna replace the value with the query. All right. Now fetch is an asynchronous function, so we have to use await. And we have to define our source function as an asynchronous function, because await only works in an asynchronous function. If you don't want to use fetch, or you can't use fetch, you can also use promises. So if you want to do that, just you do fetch, and then you call .then, and then you do your usual error function stuff, but I don't like this because it's very verbose and I don't want to land in what you call it, callback hell. So I'm going to use async await, which is also a lot more modern. All right. So this is going to do the call. And when we get the result, we have to convert this actually into JSON. Actually, we have to convert it into a real JavaScript object. And now this is also an asynchronous function. So you're also going to need the await keyword. And let's assign it to a new variable. Let's call it matches. So this is going to have all the countries that match our search keyword. So this is, let's try this. Yeah, see, so I've typed an A and it will return all the countries with an A. Yes, I'm going to keep typing AF. It's going to return me just the countries which start with an AF, right? So now all you have to do is actually display the results, and Framework7 is going to make this really easy for you, because all we have to do is call the method render. So it's where is it? Here. So we're getting this from here, and we're passing in the array of results. Save it. So let's try A, C. So now we have all the countries which start with an A, AF, I don't know, BR, Brazil, GR, Germany. So this works really, really well. Alrighty, so that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If this video was helpful to you, please click on the like button. And if you would like to see more videos in the future, please click on the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when the new video is released. And if you want, you can also follow me on Twitter. My username is Timo_Ernst. And that's it. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and see you next time. Bye.